Actually, I'm a newcomer here to this group. My everyday life is as a corporate lawyer. I don't discuss these kind of issues. We're ignorant about them. And so my question will also sound not very intelligent. But I wanted to ask you, because in what you're saying, it seems that it's very important for people to have discussions, to discuss. And I think that in any field, you feel more comfortable when you know your stuff. But it's true that when it comes to Islam, you just don't want to say because I just don't know the book. But there is something about the fact that actually, listen to someone, another expert on gender in Islam that also said that actually we should basically are able to find the interpretation that we need in order to actually make the reforms. My question is that to what extent is actually, it's absolutely necessary that in becoming a modern reformist Muslim woman, trying to live her life as a Muslim, but in a modern way, that you have to justify yourself when you're challenged with scholarly thinking? Is it not enough that you just do it and have confidence? I have faith that I believe that God loves me as I am, not because, and He will not love me more just because I would choose to take the veil or do other things. I have confidence that the Quran is actually very liberating, but I don't know scholarship. I'm just saying, for most of us, we live it. We live being a Muslim feminist without knowing. We believe it. Is that not enough if you don't have what, I mean, you are very learned, and I'm sure everyone here is, to actually be an example of feminism? Does that have any value in the struggle? Because I think I've always, it's for me easier to be that way, because I don't like to argue about something that I know is inherently right, and it's just a lot of energy for me, and I'm busy working as a lawyer already, so I don't want to think about it. I just live my life. I say I'm a Muslim, this is what I am, I believe it, and I believe that it's integrating the love of Allah is what makes me as a powerful woman. But I can't explain it if you want me to explain it. Just want to know whether that has any value.
It's also the veiling thing, which is an issue that's very tense these days.
Yeah. Anyone that wants to succeed in politics will have to take the veil.
Right. You know, sorry. This is such an insightful question you ask. As you were asking the question, you know, the wheels of my mind are moving. And I'm thinking, well, of course it has value. To the extent that living your life honestly, with authenticity as you are, you're being a role model for other, not just women, but young men around you who see that a strong woman is not a contradiction in terms and might even, frankly, be sexy. You know? Of course it has value, but then, as you continued with your question, the wheels kept moving, and I'll say something now that a lot of people don't like to hear, but it is, I profoundly believe that there is something to what I'm about to say. I have a real issue with mere moderate Muslims. I have this issue because I'm going to go back to Martin Luther King Jr. for just a second. He taught, and I think this is very true, that in times of moral crisis, moderation is an excuse to do nothing. Meaning, when he was being the activist against racial segregation, many moderate Christians, nice, diplomatic, living their lives, doing their thing, moderate Christians didn't help him. In fact, some of them quietly said to one another, oh, he's so extremist. People like him are so radical. Why bother? Why become as bad as the racists? And he said to these moderate Christians that, rooting out deep corruption can never be an act of moderation. It must always necessarily be an act of intensity, but intense love. His point simply was that if you're living your life trying to be the good role model that we're all sure, any of us is to some of the people around us, that's nice. But you remain on the sidelines. It is when you actually speak up and let the gangsters know that they are not pulling the wool over your eyes. It is then that you become a reformist. And this is important in times of moral crisis. That's the condition, right? Moderation is lovely in normal times, whatever that means. But when you know that massive abuses of power are taking place in the name of your God or in the name of your community, it's a moral crisis. And that is when simply being a role model by living your own life actually sometimes reinforces the power of the reactionaries, because they're left to believe that, since we're not getting any resistance, since we're not getting any pushback, obviously that means that the people agree with us. They need to know that the people don't. And when it comes from, frankly, somebody as accomplished, as learned in your own field, and as professional as you, well, that's an image that also will inspire other young